Welcome to Broke Without a Foul Taste. Today I'd like to do the next episode in my series on mastering engineers, lacquer cutting engineers. Today I'd like to talk about Joe Nino-Hernes of Sterling Sound in Nashville. Joe Nino-Hernes, based on his photo and discogs, looks to be someone maybe around my age, in his 40s. Looking at his credits, appears to be someone who has been cutting lacquers in earnest for about 4 or 5 years. He's got some credits that are older than that, but when he starts to have a lot of credits is around 2017, 2018. And my impression is that he's mainly a cut from digital guy. That's kind of his role there. He makes a lot of really good sounding stuff, and I'd like to share with you some stuff from my collection that was cut by Joe Nino-Hernes. First up is the first snail mail record. I think it's their first record. Snail Mail Lush. Yeah, it occurs to me that, as far as I know, this is their debut, but maybe it's not. I don't know. This is the signal for me that this and almost everything else in here is cut from digital, is the fact that it's mastered by someone else and then cut by Joe Nino-Hernes. And this, it's a good sounding record. I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that every time I see this record now, I think about Mike from the In-Groove introducing or showing her latest record and introducing her as, this is Valentina, Snail Mail by Valentina. That was hilarious to me, and I just thought I'd mention it. I'm not saying that for any other reason that I thought that was funny. I like those videos a lot. Similar kind of a deal with the latest Dinosaur Jr. record, Sleeping into Space. It's mastered by Greg Calby at Sterling, and then cut by Joe Nino-Hernes. So that, for me, means that original mastering is a digital mastering of the studio master, and then it's cut from that digital master. Fiona Apple, that's the Bolt Cutters. Great sounding record. Maybe the best sounding record I have that's cut by Joe Nino-Hernes. I take this to be all digital. I imagine this is probably recorded digitally, but high res, and this seems like it must have been cut from high res digital. Sounds awesome. That sounds more or less as good as I can imagine a digitally sourced record can sound. As you know, I always would prefer analog. And speaking of analog, this is the one where I hope is cut from tape. This is the 25th anniversary REM Monster, and remastered album from the original analog master. Okay, so there's a couple things that make me concerned there. One is the wiggle room that they built into that wording, and two is the fact that they had done several records in a row with Chris Bellman, and then all of a sudden they switched to Joe Nino-Hernes, who's great, but seems to in general always cut from digital. So who knows? I guess. All I know for sure is that this sounds awesome. This is easily the best sounding version of Monster out there, and that in general these had been all analog. I hope this is too. I think it is too. As always with that kind of thing, I might be wrong. Okay, what do we got next? Yes, we get these the Ramones Record Store Day records, live in Glasgow, and they're very upfront with the wording on these, that they transfer to high res digital and then cut from that, and they sound great. These are, this is, again, in general, of course I prefer that they cut from tape, but it could be that allows them to fix some issues that wouldn't otherwise be fixable, and when it's that high res, you're definitely hard pushed to tell the difference, especially on a live album. All right, so it's a live 2. And the most recent, Live in City from 1980, that I talked about recently. Just a really cool album. Really cool to hear those end of the century songs. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and then the last two, I swear to God, I got these from my kids. Taylor Swift. Which one is this? Folklore. Folklore is interesting because Joe Nino-Hernes cut all the lacquers for this except for side 2. Side 2 is cut by Ryan K. Smith. Otherwise, Joe Nino-Hernes. So that's kind of interesting. And then, well, it's getting a little bit difficult to manage all this stuff here. Tempted to just leave this last one in, but I brought it all the way out here, so here it is. Evermore, cut by Joe Nino-Hernes. Okay, so those are my Joe Nino-Hernes records. Really good record cutting engineer at Sterling Sound. Like I said, my impression is he's a cut from digital guy in general. I certainly don't, he's cut way more than I have, so it could be that he's also cut more from tape. Anyway, so that was episode 4 on Joe Nino-Hernes from Sterling Sound, and thanks for watching. See you on my next video. How the Christ am I going to get down from here?